Hello, my wonderful little friends. Rivers here again. You know, life is really cool. Sometimes things happen to you that looking back, it's kind of you smile and go, wow, I had no idea that that was going to happen. And I had no idea that this person was like this or this was going to happen. And they're full of these wonderful moments. Well, let me tell you about somebody famous that I was able to deal with. And I didn't know that they were famous at the time. In fact, it took many years after I had been involved helping this person that I found out that he was going to become a member of the NFL Hall of Fame. And that person was Steve Young. And I had an interesting viewpoint on Steve's development as a player and his development within his family. We lived in a fairly modest, really modest house. No basement, 3 bedrooms, 1 bath. Try that one on for size. Family of 5 kids, my mom and dad, and a dog or two sometimes. And our neighbors, we had new neighbors that moved in. And I caught wind from my dad that the father, LeGrand Young, had formerly gone or had played football at BYU back in the day. And I think they had 3 or 4 kids at the time. And their oldest was maybe 3 or 4. And that was Steve Young. And so I really thought that, having a neighbor who played football at BYU, wow, what a cool thing. And so I got a piece of paper and I went up with a pen and I asked for Grit, his name, he went by Grit Young. I asked for his autograph and we became really good friends. He's a great guy. He is probably maybe 6'1", 6'2". He has the deepest voice I have ever heard. It was like a foghorn. And he was just this imposing, intimidating guy. He wasn't an intimidating person, but you stood up and squared your shoulders when you dealt with him. And it just so happened over a couple of years that when I became a deacon, he was my deacon's quorum advisor. And like I said, I made a great impression with him, when I went up and asked for his autograph. And so there were occasions where Grit and his wife, Sherry, who became really good friends with my mom and dad, asked me if I'd come up to be a babysitter. Well, I did some babysitting, and these were nice kids. It was a nice family. And so I'd go up and get them in bed, and, there wasn't much to do. You could watch some TV, 3 or 4 channels tops, and I'd bring something to read maybe. At any rate, I was Steve Young's babysitter. Cool, huh? Well, when I entered law school back in August of 1979, Mom, Queenie, and I were just recently married. And we had this cute little 1-bedroom apartment. And I asked Steve if he wanted to come over for Sunday dinner. He said, sure. So he comes over for Sunday dinner, and he's a freshman. And I remember him sitting on our green, ugly, but ugly couch. And I remember him saying something to the effect of, they want me to be a defensive back, but I want to play quarterback. And at the time, I knew this, but at the time he was like 5th or 6th string. Now, Steve was a great athlete. And when he was a little kid, he kind of walked on the balls of his feet. He was my sister Stacy's age, and you could just tell that this kid, had it, whatever it was. And so then it was really fun in the years to come. I watched him move up from 5th string up to 2nd string, and then he was a starter for a couple of years, and he had fantastic seasons. And he graduated and he was drafted by both the NFL and I think it was the USFL, which were warring leagues at the time. And he signed an outrageously high contract, with this USFL team. And his career took a bunch of years before it took off. And when it took off, he won a couple of Super Bowls, and he was the MVP, and he's a terrific guy. If I ran into him on the streets, he would look at me and say, I know you're Lou's son. He really liked my dad, but I don't know if he'd remember me, but I certainly remember babysitting him, and it was a really, really nice family. And so that's one of my claims to fame. Kind of pathetic, but it is one of my claims to fame. So what's to learn from this? Well, you never know what people are going to accomplish in their life. Now, very few people end up being elected to the NFL Football Hall of Fame like Steve was. And he's had a successful business career. He even went back and got his legal degree from BYU. But, you just never know what kind of talents people have. And you never know that these people that you're helping and that you love and that you kind of rub elbows with, what'll happen to them. And I just think it's kind of a fun story. And that's all I got for you.